The space station floated quietly above a blue gas giant, far from Earth, far from any real sun inside. Corridors were cold and gray, full of noise, but Kara only heard the sound of her own thoughts. She sat in a wheelchair made from old parts, squeaky. Wheels, cracked seat, and faded lights. Her hands rested on her lap. Legs unmoving since she was 7 years old. 10 years ago, an explosion had changed her life. One moment she was running through her home fields, laughing with her brother. Next, there was fire. Screaming and pain then. Nothing in her legs. Doctors said her nerves were damaged beyond repair. No treatment available, no hope offered. Now she was 17, an alien girl with blue skin, long black hair, and silver eyes. She watched others pass her by, busy with their jobs, with their missions, with their legs. Some stared at her with pity. Others didn't see her at all. To them, she was part of the background. Part of the broken furniture of the station. Kara tried not to hate them. She read books, studied star maps, fixed small tech pieces in her room. She didn't cry anymore, not because she was strong, but because the tears had dried years ago. She didn't believe in miracles. Then the human came. His name was Dr. Elias Crow. He arrived in a ship called the Dauntless, covered in burns and scars from old battles. He wore a long coat with tools hanging from every pocket. People whispered, "Don't talk to the human. He's strange, he's dangerous." But Kara watched him from the corner of her eye. He fixed old machines that others had given up on. He rewired broken panels, built tiny drones, and once he even repaired the broken food dispenser that Kara had kicked in frustration last year. He didn't smile much, didn't talk much, but his hands moved like magic. One afternoon, Kara was sitting near the open dock gate. She liked watching ships come and go, even though she could never leave. Elias walked past her, then stopped. He turned, looked at her wheelchair, then at her face. "Old model," he said, voice rough. Kara blinked, surprised. "No kidding." She replied quietly, "It's all I've got." He crouched next to the wheel, touched it with 2 fingers. "This thing belongs in a museum," he muttered. She rolled her eyes. "Well, I'm not running any races." He stood up, looked at her again, not with pity, but with something else, something sharp, focused, like he saw a challenge. "Do you want to walk again?" he asked. The words hit her like a wave. She stared at him, thinking it was a cruel joke. "Nerve damage," she said. "It's permanent." Elias shook his head slowly. "Not for humans," he said. "Not anymore." Kara frowned. "I'm not human." He smirked slightly. "Doesn't matter." Then he walked away. Coat swinging behind him, tools clinking softly. Kara sat frozen for a long time, her heart beating fast. Walk again. No one had ever said that in 10 years. Not even. As a lie, that night, she couldn't sleep. She kept remembering his face, those gray eyes, that calm voice. Was he serious? Was he crazy? Or was he a genius? The next day, Elias came back. This time, he brought a bag, heavy and full of metal parts. He sat next to her and opened it without a word. Wires, circuits, joint sockets. Metal bones. Kara's eyes widened. "What is that?" she asked. "Legs," he said simply. "Better than the ones you lost." She didn't speak, just watched as he connected wires to a small chip. "They'll respond to your brain," he explained. "Think, walk, and they move. Like real limbs," Kara whispered. "Why are you doing this?" He paused, then looked at her. "Because you're the only one here who hasn't given up." For the first time in years, Kara felt something in her chest, something warm. Hope. She didn't believe in magic, but maybe she could believe in humans, especially this one. And so, without even knowing it, her new life had begun. A journey not of steps, but of will. She was the girl who couldn't run, but maybe not for much longer. Kara didn't move as the human walked away. Her hands gripped her wheelchair tightly. His words kept repeating in her mind like a broken signal. "Do you want to walk again?" No one had ever asked her that, not in 10 years. Everyone had accepted her fate, except this strange human with scars and sharp eyes. The next day, she didn't see him. She looked around the station corridors, near the repair docks, even near the ship hangars, but Elias Crow was gone. She told herself she didn't care. But her heart felt heavy. Maybe he was just joking. Maybe he had already left the station. But then, on the third day, he heard a sound, metal scraping against metal. She turned her chair and saw him again. He was dragging a large black case behind him. His coat was dusty and sweat covered his forehead, but his eyes were focused. Without saying anything, he stopped beside her and dropped the case with a loud clang. Kara jumped slightly. Elias sat down cross-legged and opened it slowly. Inside were strange metal parts, glowing wires, tiny mechanical joints. She had never seen anything like it. "I wasn't joking," Elias said finally. "These are the parts for your new legs." Kara blinked. "Why would you do this for me?" He didn't look at her, just picked up a thin rod and turned it in his hands. "I build things, fix things. But it's boring when the machines have no soul." Then he looked up. You've got fight left." Kara didn't know what to say. She had always been careful not to hope, careful not to dream. Hope was dangerous. It could break your heart, but Elias made it sound like walking was as simple as building a chair. She looked down at her legs, thin and useless for years. "What if I fall?" she asked softly. Elias chuckled. "Then we try again until you don't." For a moment, she smiled. Later that evening, she wheeled herself to the station's repair bay. Elias had taken over one of the corners. Tools, lights, scanners all spread out on the floor like pieces of a forgotten puzzle. He was welding something when she arrived, sparks flying around his gloved hands. "I told the station council," she said quietly. "They think you're wasting time." He didn't stop working. "Let them think that," he replied. "I've built better things from worse scraps." Kara rolled closer. "What do you need from me?" Elias finally turned to face her. "Just one thing," he said. "You have to want this." "Truly, I do," she said, voice steady now, more than anything. "Then it begins for the next few days." Kara watched in amazement. Elias was unlike any engineer she'd seen before. He worked with calm speed, hands moving like they knew the parts better than his brain did. He explained things in simple words. "These joints will move with thought. This plate will act. Like your muscles, this microchip. It listens to your nerves." Kara had never felt so alive, even sitting in her chair. Each new part felt like a key to a future she had locked away long ago. Sometimes other aliens stopped and stared, some with curiosity, others with suspicion. But Kara didn't care anymore. She had found something greater than their approval: purpose. One night, she asked him, "How did you learn to do all this?" Elias leaned back, wiping his forehead. "I was a soldier once, then a builder," he said. "I've seen war-tier bodies apart. I decided to learn how to put them back together." He paused, then added, "You remind me of someone I couldn't save." Kara said nothing but nodded slowly. They worked in silence after that. A quiet understanding between them. On the 6th day, Elias called her to the center of the repair bay. The legs were finished, sleek, silver, and strangely beautiful. He knelt beside her, placing the mechanical legs in front of her chair. "This is your choice," he said. "You don't have to say yes." Kara looked at them, her breath caught in her chest. They didn't look like replacements. They looked like freedom. "I want to try," she whispered. Elias nodded, and everything began to change. He helped her out of the chair, lifting her gently and placing her on the bench. The procedure wasn't surgery, no cutting, no pain. Instead, he attached thin plates to her thighs and hips, connecting two nerves that still worked. Wires fused with skin, lights blinked on. The machine came to life. Kara gasped, feeling something she hadn't felt in years. Sensation light, cold, real. She looked at Elias, eyes wide. It's working. She whispered. He smiled slightly. Just wait till you stand. Kara sat still on the metal bench. The robotic legs were now attached, lightweight but strong, silent but full of power. She looked down at them, afraid to move, afraid that it might all disappear, like a dream fading after sleep. Elias stood beside her, holding a small control device in one hand. "Don't try to walk yet," he said, voice calm. "Let the system finish sinking to your brain." She nodded slowly, her heart pounding like a drum. For 10 years, her legs were useless, heavy, forgotten now. Metal limbs buzzed softly beneath her, humming with silent energy. It didn't feel like wearing a machine. It felt like growing a new part of herself. The control device beeped once, then glowed green. Elias gave a satisfied nod. "All right, Kara. The link is ready. Try moving your toes." She stared at her new feet, focused, and thought, "Move." A second later, her right foot twitched, then the left. Kara gasped, clapping her hands to her mouth, her silver eyes wide with shock. "I felt it," she whispered. "I felt that." Elias smiled, just a little. "It's working." Kara wanted to scream with joy, but she kept herself calm. No, not calm, controlled. There would be time for celebrating later. First, she had to walk. She placed her hands on the bench, took a deep breath, ready to stand. Elias asked. She nodded, and he stepped back, watching carefully. Her legs, her new legs, responded to her thoughts. Slowly, shakily, Kara shifted her weight forward. Muscles that weren't flesh, but metal engaged, and she rose, wobbling knees, shaking arms, flailing slightly for balance, but she was standing on her own. A tear rolled down her cheek, then another. She didn't even wipe them away. She was too focused on one thought. "I'm standing. I'm standing." Elias stepped closer, ready to catch her. "You're doing great," he said, voice low, steady. "Just stay still for a moment. Let your body understand it's real." Kara took a breath and nodded. The robotic legs adjusted under her, shifting slightly to keep her upright. They were learning with her, adapting to her every move. "This is more than tech," she whispered. "This is like magic." "No," Elias said firmly. "This is hope, built with hands." She stood for 10 full minutes, not wanting to sit again. And when Elias finally said, "Let's try a step," Kara was ready. She leaned forward slightly and thought. Step. Her right leg moved, foot lifting slowly, then touching down. It wasn't smooth, but it was hers. Then the left foot followed, unsteady but true. She took another step. Then another, each one slow, shaking but real. Then she fell. Her knees gave out, and she collapsed forward. Elias caught her before she hit the ground, holding her gently. But Kara was laughing, not crying. Not angry laughing. "I fell," she grinned. "But I walked, Elias. I really walked." He helped her back to the bench, both of them breathing heavily. "Not bad for your first time," he said with a half smile. "You'll be running in a week." Word spread fast on the station. A human engineer had built robotic legs for the crippled alien girl. Some didn't believe it. Others said it was dangerous human tech in alien flesh. That was unnatural, illegal in some sectors. The Council of Elders sent a request to meet Elias, but he ignored them. He only cared about Kara's next steps. Each day, she trained harder. He set up a practice course with ramps, stairs, and balance beams. At first, she fell often, her legs shaking with each challenge, but every time she stood again. Stronger, faster, more confident. And slowly, the station began to notice something else. Kara was no longer the quiet girl in the broken wheelchair. She was something more. Now, a symbol, children started watching her practice. Some cheered when she completed a staircase without falling. One little alien girl asked shyly, "Will you teach me how to be brave too?" Kara knelt in front of her, metal legs clicking softly. "You're already brave," she said with a smile. "You just don't know it yet." Elias watched from the side, arms crossed. He wasn't smiling much, but there was pride in his eyes. He had seen people come back from war, broken, hopeless, but Kara, she was something different. She wasn't just healing, she was rising that night. Kara sat on the roof of the station, looking out at the stars. Elias sat beside her, sipping. From a hot metal mug, she turned to him and asked, "Why did you really help me?" "I'm not your kind." He looked at the stars, then back at her. "You don't need to be human to deserve to walk," he said simply. "Some of us are born broken. Some become broken, but no one deserves to stay that way forever." Kara nodded slowly, and for the first time in her life, she didn't feel broken. She felt whole, metal and hope, flesh and fire. A girl who once couldn't run, now dreaming of flying. Kara stood at the edge of the training platform. Her robotic legs buzzed softly, steady and ready. The floor in front of her sloped downward a ramp designed for mobility tests. She looked at Elias, standing just a few feet away, holding a small monitor in his hands. "Ready?" he asked. Kara nodded slowly, wiping sweat from her forehead. The lights above them flickered softly, the hum of the space station around them like a quiet heartbeat. But in her ears, everything else was silent. This moment was hers alone. Elias gave a small nod. "Go when you feel it." Kara took a breath, then stepped forward. One foot moved, then the next. She moved slowly down the ramp. Arms stretched slightly for balance. Her metal feet tapped the floor, soft and smooth, no stumble, no fall. She reached the bottom, stopped, and turned around. A grin slowly spread across her face. "I didn't fall," she said, voice shaking with excitement. "No," Elias said with a rare smile. "You didn't." The next challenge was tougher. A short flight of stairs, 6 steps up, 6 down. Kara stared at them like they were a mountain. For most people, stairs were normal, even boring. But for her, stairs had always meant limits. Pain and being left behind. She clenched her fists and started walking. The first step was slow her. Robotic foot lifted, paused, then landed on the stair. She followed with the next foot. Shaking a bit, but holding firm, one by one, she climbed. At the top, she turned and looked down. 6 steps had never felt so high. Then came the descent, harder, scarier. Her legs had to bend and adjust, shift her weight, respond to her brains. Thoughts. She hesitated on the 3rd step, but Elias's voice cut through the air. "Trust your legs, Kara. They're yours now." She took the step and landed safely. When she reached the bottom, her heart felt like it could burst. She looked at Elias. "Did you see that?" He nodded once. "I saw everything." Each day, her steps became smoother. Her balance improved. Her speed increased. Soon, she was running across the practice floor, her legs glowing faintly with each step. Children clapped when she jumped over small gaps. Elders watched silently from corners, their expressions unreadable. Still, not everyone was pleased. Whispers grew in the hall's human tech inside her body. "She's no longer one of us. What if it fails? What if it changes her?" Kara heard it all. She sat on her bed one night, staring at her legs. They didn't feel like machines, they felt like freedom. But was she changing too much? Elias came in quietly, holding a tablet. "You look troubled," he said. "They're starting to fear me." She whispered, "Like I'm no longer myself." Elias sat beside her, placing the tablet down. He looked at her. not with pity, but calm understanding. Change makes people nervous, he said, especially when it comes from something they don't control. But I didn't choose this to scare them, Kara replied. I chose it to live, and that, Elias said, gently, is exactly why it matters. The next day, the council summoned her. Kara walked into their chamber on her own leg stall, confident, metal feet clicking on the smooth floor. The elders sat in silence as she entered. She didn't bow, didn't hide her legs under a robe. She stood proud. One of the elders, a female named Vekra, spoke first. Kara, you have been given something unnatural? Kara replied. No, I've been given a chance to walk again. Another elder asked, and what price does this human ask for it? Kara looked at Elias, who stood at the edge of the room. Silent, nothing, she said. He only asked me if I wanted to walk again, and I said yes. The room grew quiet again. Then Vekra said, your steps may be strong, Kara, but the path you've chosen is dangerous. Kara took a slow, loud step forward. Maybe, she said. But it's my path now. Outside, the station felt different as Kara walked through the corridors. Some people smiled at her, others turned away, unsure. But one thing was clear. No one saw her as invisible anymore. She was not the girl in the wheelchair. She was the girl who walked, who fought, who chose a new way forward. That evening, Elias handed her a small metal case. Inside were two thin black gloves lined with micro-wires. What are these? She asked. Next phase, he said. If you're ready to climb, I think it's time you fly. Kara's eyes sparkled. Step by step, day by day, she was rising, and the galaxy was starting to take notice. Kara's name was now whispered across the space station, not as a girl in a broken chair, but as a symbol of something new, something powerful, something frightening. She had walked where no one believed she could. She had risen from silent sand. Some called that dangerous. The first signs of backlash came quietly. A technician refused to service her room's oxygen valve. A shopkeeper who used to smile now turned away when she passed. Small things, but enough to make her notice. One morning, a message appeared on her room screen. Return to your kind, not the humans. Kara stared at it, heart sinking. She deleted the message, but the weight of those words stayed with her. She walked to Elias's lab that evening, her robotic legs silent as shadows. He was working on a drone, but stopped the moment he saw her. Face, they're starting to hate me, she said, just because I can stand now. Elias nodded slowly. Fear always follows the unknown. He placed the drone aside. They don't hate you, Kara. They hate what you represent. And what is that? She asked. That humans can give aliens something they couldn't give themselves. The station council moved next. They sent a formal notice to Elias. You are ordered to cease technological integration with non-human citizens, he read. It once, then tore it in half. They're trying to stop you, Kara said, sitting beside him. They won't succeed, Elias answered. I didn't come here to follow rules, Kara. I came here to fix what others left broken. Still, the pressure grew. Elders whispered of exile, of removal, of confiscation. Rumors spread that Elias had installed hidden weapons inside her legs, that Kara was a human spy, built to turn her people into machines. One day, two guards appeared outside Elias's lab. They carried stun rifles and wore heavy armor. We are here to inspect unauthorized tech, one said. Elias stood between them and Kara. Arms folded. No, he replied calmly. This lab is sealed under Galactic Mechanic Right Section 12. This is not Earth, the guard snapped. No, but I brought Earth's laws with me, Elias answered. The guards hesitated, then turned and walked away, but not before one of them whispered, She's not one of us anymore. That night, Kara couldn't sleep. She stared at her legs, once her curse, now her wings. She didn't regret anything, but a deep sadness filled her. Knowing that her own people now looked at her with suspicion, Elias found her on the viewing deck, sitting alone under the stars, thinking of leaving. He asked. She looked at him. Would that make things easier for you? He laughed softly. I didn't give you legs so you could run away. Kara smiled, just a little. I'm not afraid of them, she said. But I don't want to fight my own people either. Then don't, Elias said. Just keep walking. Let your steps speak louder than their fear. But things didn't stay peaceful. The council made their move. A public announcement rang through the station, effective immediately. Human Elias Crow is to be removed for violating interspecies boundaries. Any tech installed on alien citizens must be dismantled. Kara watched the message play on every screen, her fists clenched, dismantled. Her legs weren't just metal, they were hers. They wanted to take back her freedom. She ran to the Labis, ran, and found Elias. Already packing tools and parts into crates. What are you doing? She shouted. He looked at her, eyes calm but sad. I can't let them hurt you, he said. If I go, maybe they'll leave you alone. Kara shook her head, stepping in front of the door. No, she said firmly. You gave me legs, Elias. You gave me a life. I won't let them take that from either of us. But they'll come with force, Elias warned. Guards, weapons. Orders. Then we leave first, she said. Her voice steady now. I'm not just some girl in a chair anymore. I can walk, run, climb, and if I must, I'll fly. That night, they loaded what they could onto a small ship Elias had hidden in a repair hangar. It was old, but fast. A smuggler's vessel built for speed and stealth. Kara placed her hands on the wall. As the engines warmed up, she wasn't scared anymore. Not of falling, not of flying. Not of what the others thought, as the ship launched quietly into the dark sky. Kara looked back once. The space station shrank behind her once. A prison, now just a memory. She turned to Elias, who sat at the pilot's seat. What now? She asked. He smiled. Now we find a place where no one tells you to sit down again. Kara nodded, legs humming beneath her. She wasn't running away. She was running toward something new. A future that she would shape, step by step. The stars. Outside, the ship looked peaceful, but inside the cockpit, tension filled the air like smoke. Kara sat beside Elias, her hands gripping the metal armrests tightly. This was her first time in open space, not as cargo. Not as a patient, but as a pilot's equal. And behind them, the station that once called her home was now calling her an enemy. Do you think they'll follow us? Kara asked, her voice low. Elias didn't answer right away, his eyes locked on the radar. Then he sighed. They already are. Kara's heart sank. A red dot blinked on the screen. A patrol ship. Fast and armed, sent to stop them. Or worse. Her hands clenched into fists. Her legs buzzed softly with rising power. We can't outrun them in this ship, Elias said. But we can outsmart them. Kara leaned forward, her eyes focused. Then show me how humans escape trouble. The ship dove into a dense asteroid field. Rocks spun slowly, giant and dangerous. Elias turned off the outer lights, guiding the ship through narrow paths, using only sensors. One wrong move, and they'd be space dust. Kara watched him closely, learning. This man wasn't just a builder, he was a survivor. And now, so was she. They don't just want to arrest you, Kara said suddenly. They want to tear these legs from me. Like I was never meant to stand. Elias nodded, eyes still on the screen. They want to remind you of your place, he replied. People in power always hate it when someone rises without their permission. The patrol ship entered the field. Minutes later, Kara could feel its presence, like a shadow chasing her back. She stood up, her legs adjusting for the ship's tilt. I want to help, she said. Elias glanced at her. Can you handle high-gravity movement? She nodded. My legs are ready. Good, he said, pointing to the engine room. Then let's upgrade. In the back of the ship, Elias showed Kara the true core of the vessel. A hybrid drive part human, part stolen alien tech. It was powerful but unstable. You'll need to attach the coolant lines manually, he said. And fast. Kara jumped down into the narrow chamber without hesitation. Her robotic feet magnetized to the hull. She moved between pipes and glowing wires like a shadow. Her body was not flesh, and bone was steel and will. She found the coolant system, disconnected the failing pipe, and replaced it with a new one. In seconds, steam hissed, and the engine roared to life with new strength. I'm done, she shouted, running back toward the cockpit. The ship jolted forward, twice as fast now. But the enemy wasn't far behind. Outside, the patrol ship locked onto them, missiles launched. Slicing through space like burning knives, Elias twisted the ship sharply, dodging one, then another. But a third one struck the rear, small damage, but enough to shake them hard. Kara was thrown against the wall, but her legs absorbed the shock. She stood, unhurt, her eyes burning with fire. We need to end this, she said. Elias nodded, pointing at a nearby moon with deep canyons. If we go there, they'll have to follow us low, he said. That's our chance to turn the fight. Kara grinned. Let's make them regret chasing us. The ship dove toward the moon, entering a canyon so narrow the patrol ship hesitated. Kara strapped herself into the side turret seat, her legs locked into place, balancing her perfectly. As the ship twisted through the rock walls, she fired bursts of energy behind them, forcing the enemy to pull back. They're scared, she said. They've never seen someone like me fight. Elias laughed. They've never met someone like you. As the canyon opened, Elias pulled a hard turn. Circling behind the patrol ship, Kara aimed the main cannon and fired a clean direct hit. The patrol ship spun out, systems failing, and disappeared from the radar. Not destroyed, but disabled. A message blinked on their screen. Retreat initiated. Returning to base, Kara leaned back in her seat. Heart pounding, they had won, not just survived, but won together. Later that night, the ship floated in silence near a quiet nebula. Elias handed Kara a warm drink, and they sat under the stars. No alarms, no orders, no fear. You were incredible, he said softly. Kara looked at her hands, then her legs. I never imagined this, she said. Running, fighting, flying. She looked up at him. Thank you for believing I could be more than a girl in a chair. Elias shook his head gently. No, he said. You believed it. I just helped you see it. In that quiet moment, Kara knew something had changed. Forever, she wasn't just escaping now. She was chasing something's freedom. Not just for her, but maybe for others like her too. The galaxy had tried to keep her down, but now she was running towards something greater, and nothing could stop her now. A red flare lit up the void above the mining colony of HFY. A distress call, loud and desperate, echoing across nearby systems. Kara watched the blinking signal from the ship's screen. Elias stood beside her, face unreadable. Pirates, he said softly. They've trapped the workers, and the local guards ran off. Kara clenched her fists, her metal legs humming with power beneath her. Then we go help, she said. Without pause, Elias looked at her, proud and worried at the same time. This isn't just walking anymore, he warned. This is war. Kara turned to him, silver eyes glowing. Good, she said. Let them see what a girl with broken legs can do. HFY was burning when they arrived. Smoke poured from buildings, sparks lit the sky, and civilians hid in shelters underground. Pirate ships hovered above like vultures, ready to crush anything that moved. Kara stepped off the ship wearing a new suit, half armor, half exhaustskin. Built by Elias, designed for speed, flexibility, and protection. Her legs gleamed in the firelight. No longer just for walking, they were for battle now. She ran into the smoke without fear, her mind clear, her purpose simple: save them. Children were trapped inside a damaged shelter, crying beneath falling metal beams. Kara sprinted forward, lifting the wreckage with her enhanced strength. She pulled them out one by one. Her voice calm, her hands steady. A young boy clung to her, his face dirty and scared. Are you a robot?" he whispered. Kara smiled softly. "No. I'm just someone who remembers what it feels like to be helpless." Elias provided air support, using the ship's cannons to blast holes in the pirates' defense. But they were many more than expected. He called over the comms, "Kara, there's a gunship heading your way, too heavy for my lasers." Kara looked up. There it was. Black and massive, firing into the colony below. She took a deep breath and ran toward it. Her legs moved like thunder, each step faster, more powerful. She jumped onto a fallen tower, climbed it in seconds, and launched herself through the air like a missile. She landed on top of the gunship. Metal feet cracking the hull, alarms blared inside. Pirates screamed in confusion. Kara tore off a panel and reached into the wires. Her fingers burning from heat. She pulled hard down. The gunship shut down midair. Falling like a dead bird, she jumped off just in time, landing in a roll, her legs taking the full impact with ease. Civilians stared at her, speechless. No one had ever seen something like this. A girl once forgotten, now standing above them like a legend. News spread fast. Footage from the colony was uploaded to the net. A girl with robotic legs saving hundreds, fighting off raiders, jumping over fire like a ghost. They called her the Iron Flame, the Walking Star. The girl who ran into war and won. Her face appeared on terminals across systems, not as a warning, but as a beacon. People who felt powerless began to believe again. Crippled veterans, abandoned children, broken workers. They whispered her name, Kara. 1 week later, Kara and Elias landed on a peaceful moon. They walked through a crowd of alien refugees, old, injured, forgotten. They had seen the videos. They knew the story. They didn't look at her with fear. They looked at her with hope. A young alien woman in a chair wheeled forward, eyes filled with tears. "I saw you run," she said. "I haven't walked in 12 years. Do you think I could too?" Kara knelt down, took her hand gently. "If you want it," she said, "we'll make it happen." Elias stood nearby, his bag full of tools. They both knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was changing, not because of weapons or politics or power, but because one human believed a broken alien girl could stand. And because that girl decided to rise not just for herself, but for everyone like her. Kara stood on a small hill that evening. The wind brushed her hair. The sky was full of stars. She took off her boots and looked down at her metal feet. 10 years ago, she had stared at her legs with sadness. Now she looked at them with pride. Elias joined her, silent as always. She smiled at him. "Think we've caused enough trouble yet?" He chuckled. "Not even close." Kara looked up at the sky wide. Endless, full of places yet to reach. Her voice was calm, but strong. "Then let's keep running." And with that, she walked forward, no longer running from anything, but running toward everything.